officers will stand at attention and civilians will place their right hand over their hearts. Thank you. Good afternoon. Today, the men and women of the 172nd Airlift Wing, in keeping with one of the oldest traditions in military service, pay special tribute to Lieutenant Colonel Shander Adams on the occasion of her retirement. The presiding official for today's ceremony is Colonel Tommy F. Tillman, Jr., Commander, 172nd Airlift Wing. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the entrance of the official party and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem and the invocation.
Stripes and bright stars through the Please join me as I pray for today's event. Eternal Father, it's with thankful hearts that we lift up our prayer to you on this significant occasion to celebrate the service and retirement of a fellow airman and friend, Lieutenant Colonel Shander Adams. Today, as we honor Colonel Adams, we are mindful of her devotion to duty, her faithfulness to her calling, and her dedication to our country for 29 years. Thank you for leading her and her trust to serve our country. Thank you for her family support. And Lord, we thank you most of all for the time that she has put in to make others better in our Air Force. Bless her and her family with an easy transition, and a faithful and fruitful retirement, that her days may be long and well lived. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you, Chaplain Thomas, for those warm and inspiring words. And thank you to the Bass Trio for honoring our flag by lending your voices. Today, the men and women of the 172nd Airlift Wing, in keeping with a time-honored tradition, would like to pay special tribute to Lieutenant Colonel Shander Adams on the occasion of her retirement after 29 years of dedicated and faithful service. At this time, let me take a moment to welcome our visitors. Colonel Adams, please introduce your family and guests.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I have with me today, and my mother's already crying, y'all. I have my husband George here. I have our children. I have Levante, Quentin, Tyra. I have our grandchildren, Lanaya and Keelan. Of course, my mother here. I have my aunt, Margaret. I have my sister who just surprised me. Looked like she just got off the plane. So my sister Letra. I have my pastor here, Pastor Gate, and his wife, Sister Gate. And also our junior pastor, Pastor Gate Jr., who retired Air Force from last year. His dad was retired Army. We won't hold that against him. Also, I have my best friend, Regina Sultan back there, and I have Mary Smith. She's one of my former co-workers, and her husband Chad. I have also my brother and sister-in-law, brother-in-law Charles, and sister-in-law Cynthia Portis, who are here with me. And then, of course, I have some of my former members, Anthony Shelby, thank you for coming. And I have one of my mentors that's here, that is Lieutenant Colonel retired Jackie Brown. She's here. And also, one of my special guests is Lieutenant Colonel Reed here from Jackson State ROTC. I'm trying to see if I got everybody. I think I got everybody. Thank you.
Also, we would like to welcome our distinguished visitors, of course, Colonel Tommy Tillman, Jr., Commander, 172nd Airlift Wing. Again, Lieutenant Colonel Natasha Reed, JSU Air Force ROTC Commander. Our own and now transplanted Chief Master Sergeant Maria Hughes, who's now at the 186th Air Refueling Wing. And again, Lieutenant Colonel retired Jacqueline Brown. Are there any 06s or anyone else in the audience? Okay. We're glad you could join us today. It is with great pleasure that I invite today's host, our own Colonel Tommy Tillman, to the podium.
All right. Thank you all. I'm Tommy Tillman. I'm the commander of the 172nd here. So I also have the pleasure of being her commander and her boss here during the week. And I say that it is my pleasure to have her in those positions. So thank you all for coming and serving and celebrating her career with us. She's been in the Air Force for 29 years. So she's had a big, long career. And I tried to get her to stay and not do this, but she has decided that's where she's going. So I still get to keep her on the full-time side, so I get to have her here every day. But on the weekends, sometimes we're going to let you have her back home. So George, you can have her. So George and the family, thank y'all for being here. Church family, guard family, friends, thank y'all so much for coming out to celebrate with her today. This is really about a celebration of a career. And Chandra, I just want to thank you for letting me be a part of it. It is truly my honor to be here today with you. I really appreciate you letting me do this. So ever since I've known Chandra, I've always been impressed how she lives out our core values. So I always say it's easy to talk a good game, and it's very hard and difficult to show and show someone how to live that kind of life. And it takes commitment and conviction to do that on a daily basis. Chandra has all those characteristics, and she definitely lives that out, and it's an example for every airman to emulate. As I briefly walk through her career and some of her personal life, please notice the core values: integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do throughout as we go through this program. The first one comes easy for Chandra. I believe it was instilled at a very young age. She, and everybody that knows her knows she has the utmost integrity. She holds herself accountable. She holds the people around her accountable. It's a requirement when you deal with Chandra. And I appreciate that so much, because you know where you're starting from with her. And look, if you don't want some tough discussions, don't invite her to your office, because you're going to get that. And she's not going to leave her integrity at the door to have it. So I really appreciate that about her. Secondly, the willingness that she chose to come and serve her country on active duty. So she went to active duty first. And then she was enlisted, and she went through the enlisted promotion for 11 years, up to tech sergeant, correct? Before she was commissioned. She was commissioned as an officer, and she was always willing to accept those roles that helped our airmen and it helped our wing. So it was always important. If you kind of look at her career, it was always about someone else, service before self. And she really matured as an officer when she got her first command, which was the services flight commander. Her next big assignment was the ROTC at Jackson State, where she told me it was extremely challenging, but also extremely rewarding. And she used her skills there and experience to shape those young minds and adults. And she left a positive impact, as you can probably tell, for what you had when you got there. About a year before she finished up at Jackson State, I had the fortunate conversation where she came to me and says, "Hey, I want to come back when I'm done with this." And look, throw me in that briar patch, is all I could say. She said, "I want to come back not just as a military member, I want to come back and serve full time in the wing." And we found the perfect spot for her. So she came back, and we put her in the sergeant position, and she's able to use that 16 years of experience that she had dealing with VA and veterans issues and apply it to our airmen here every day. As a commander, you don't know how much that is a relief to me to have her talent on my staff. She works directly for me. There is nobody between us. And to have someone like that who's dealing with my airmen, it was actually a godsend. And Chandra, thank you for serving in that capacity, and thank you for coming back wanting to serve in that capacity. Our airmen are in such good hands with her there. Her service doesn't stop at the gate, so she also serves her community. She's part of a ministry that aids with widows, and she also with the elderly. She teaches Sunday school. She teaches Bible study for the youth. She's supportive of a deacon, George there, and she serves alongside him as he also serves his community. So I want to thank you for that also. Like I said, it doesn't stop here. She uses her talents everywhere. And as you can see, Chandra she leaves an amazing wake, a legacy in her wake also. So I know I've told you this numerous times, but I really appreciate you. I appreciate your candidness with me. I appreciate the way you serve our members. I know they're in great hands. You're a trusted advisor to me. You're a mentor to me, and you're also my friend. So I appreciate everything. Thanks so much, Shannon. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Tillman, 172nd Air Wing, and Lieutenant Colonel Alvin. Appreciate you being here today. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we will have presentations. Lieutenant Colonel Adams, you are invited to join Colonel Tillman on the stage. Attention to orders. The state of Mississippi, to all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that the governor of the state of Mississippi, authorized by the Mississippi Code of 1972, has awarded the Mississippi Magnolia Medal to Lieutenant Colonel Shander N. Adams. Colonel Adams distinguished herself from June 5, 2020 to June 5, 2021 by demonstrating outstanding meritorious service while serving as the Wing Executive Officer while assigned to the 172nd Airlift Wing, Mississippi Air National Guard, Jackson, Mississippi. Colonel Adams has demonstrated unparalleled commitment to duty and exhibited tremendous professional pride in the performance of all assigned tasks. The distinctive accomplishments of Lieutenant Colonel Adams are in keeping with the highest traditions of military service and reflect great credit upon herself and the Mississippi Air National Guard. Given under my hand in the city of Jackson, the 3rd day of June in the year 2021, the Governor Tate Reeves and Adjutant General Jansen D. Bowles, Major General, Mississippi National Guard. Colonel Tillman will now present Lieutenant Colonel Adams with the certificate that accompanies the American flag flown aboard a C-17 of the 172nd Airlift Wing. The certificate to accompany it reads, "Let it be known that this American flag was flown aboard C-17 aircraft 03-33118 during an aeromedical evacuation mission to Bagram, Afghanistan for Operation Freedom Sentinel on the 16th day of January 2021. Signed, Tommy F. Tillman, Colonel, Commander, 172nd Airlift Wing." Additionally, Colonel Tillman will present Lieutenant Colonel Adams with a wing plaque in appreciation of her outstanding support and dedicated service to the 172nd Airlift Wing, 1 July 1995 to 5 June 2021. Colonel Tillman will now present the Presidential Certificate of Appreciation. The Certificate of Appreciation reads, "For service in the armed forces of the United States of America, I extend to you my personal thanks and sincere appreciation of a grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history with devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of military service. Your commitment and dedication have been an inspiration for those who are following your footsteps, and for all Americans who join me today in saluting you for a job extremely well done. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future." Signed, Joseph R. Biden, Commander-in-Chief. I'd now like to invite Mr. Adams to join Colonel Tillman up front. Colonel Tillman will present Mr. Adams with a certificate of appreciation from the United States Air Force. It reads, "In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to George Adams for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. Given this 5th day of June, 2021, signed General Charles Q. Brown, United States Air Force Chief of Staff, and Lieutenant General Michael A. Lowe, Director, Air National Guard." We would also like to present Mr. Adams with a Mississippi Magnolia tie tag from the Mississippi National Guard as a token of our appreciation and friendship. Thank you, Mr. Adams. You may be seated. Okay. Certificate of retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Lieutenant Colonel Shander N. Adams, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Air Force on the 5th day of June of the year 2021, signed General Charles Q. Brown, Jr., Air Force Chief of Staff, and Lieutenant General Michael A. Lowe, Director, Air National Guard. And finally, the moment you've been waiting for, the reading of the retirement order. Attention to order. With gratitude and appreciation for outstanding performance of duty and by authority of Permanent Order Echo Kilo 1063, Lieutenant Colonel Shander Adams is relieved from assignment with the 172nd Airlift Wing and placed on the United States Air Force Reserve Retired List effective 5 June 2021. Colonel Tillman is now pending. Okay. We won't worry about that part. At this point, I am going to step aside and let my friend come and have comments.
Colonel Tillman, my 172nd family and visitors, good afternoon. As I thought about what I wanted to say on this day, a couple words came to mind: gratitude and impact. As I reflect back on my time in service, I'm flooded with so many memories. So the word gratitude best describes how I feel about my journey. I would like to express that gratitude by thanking God first and foremost. I truly would not be here if not for Him. Next, I would like to thank my family, my friends, my village, for all the love and support that you've shown me over the last 29 years. My husband, George, children, thanks for sharing me with the military and giving me your unwavering support. To my mother, thank you, Mom. Thanks for supporting my decision to join the Air Force when others advised against it. And thanks for providing me with the best foundation. To my dad, God rest his soul. Thanks for instilling in me your work ethic and sense of humor. To my Aunt Margaret, thanks for standing by my mom's side and supporting me. thanks to my sister, she surprised me. She's always been that support for me. She's not only been my sister, but she's been my best friend. She was Navy. She was Navy for about 8 years. Then I talked her into switching over to the Air Guard. She did. And so now her husband's retired Navy. So thank you. Thank you for coming. I didn't see that one coming. She had so many things going on. She just left graduation here, her son, last night, I guess. Thank you. Thank you. Ooh, now that part's out of order. And thank you, my cousin Frances. I didn't recognize her earlier. Thank you for coming. And thanks again to all of my family and my friends. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Lieutenant Colonel retired Jackie Brown, thank you for paving the way for me and people just looks just like me. Thank you. I want to thank you all. I want to thank all of you, my 172nd family. Thank you for your service. I've enjoyed my time with each of you. But there are 2 members here who started off with me back in 26 years ago. I want to recognize Chief Master Sergeant Maria Hughes and Master Sergeant retired Edwin Levy. Thank you both for the laughter and friendship for the last 26 years. I'm telling you, I couldn't have made it without them. I'm so grateful right now. I selected Lieutenant Colonel Wright as my narrator. He's also my friend, and he's also the one that I started my officer journey with. Thank you, Chris, for being such a good friend. Thanks to everybody. I can't call everybody's name for fear of leaving somebody out. I'm just grateful for the awesome career that I've had and all the people that I've met on this wonderful journey. I want to thank everyone that assisted in putting this program together. To include PA has worked really hard, the wing staff, thank y'all, and everyone that's on this program. Thank you, Lieutenant Williams, who is, I found out recently, is Dr. Williams now. And of course, thanks to my FSS family, who's always taken care of me since my first command. Thank you, thank you. I thank my leadership, past and present, for allowing me to pursue opportunities some people only dream of. A few years ago at someone else's retirement ceremony, I remember telling Colonel Tillman that I just wanted to bow out gracefully and not have a retirement ceremony. He quickly reminded me that the ceremony is not for me, but more so for the ones who come after me. And for this reason, the word impact came to mind. How we influence, inspire, and impact others is what it's all about. One of my colleagues told me recently that his daughter kept a newspaper article of me when I became the first female Air Force ROTC commander at Jackson State University. I was touched and surprised at that time, at the same time. I had no idea that my achievement had captured the attention of someone so young. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Johnson, for sharing that with me. My time at JSU's Air Force ROTC as Air Force ROTC commander was both a challenging and rewarding experience. I got the opportunity to mold and shape our future leaders. The best reward was not just commissioning those cadets, but it was also watching them overcome personal obstacles. We impact people's lives all the time, whether we know it or not. We can choose to either positively or negatively impact the lives of others. Jackie Robinson said, a life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives. A few months ago, I was asked, how would I like to be remembered? I said that I want to be remembered as someone who treated everyone equally and made a positive impact by helping others. Greg Louganis said, never underestimate your ability to make someone else's life better, even if you never know it. We all have that ability. After all, the Air Force taught us the core values of integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. The Air Force core values are our foundation and the key to positively impacting others. We should not only learn them, but love them and live them. We don't choose to be role models, but others are watching and often imitate what we do. Luke, the 6th chapter, the 43rd verse says, "For a good tree bringeth not forth corrupt fruit, neither doth a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit." The old proverb derived from this scripture says, "A tree is known by the fruit it bears." The core values should be on display at all times. We have to hold ourselves and others accountable. Gandhi said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." There's so much negativity in the world today that can be attributed to the lack of accountability. This negativity bleeds over into how we treat each other. Women and people of color have always been the objects of negativity for a long time, and this has been evidenced in our military careers. The people who look like us have the most impact on our lives. Let's be the best example for those behind us. There is a such thing as a glass ceiling. I am blessed to have made it to that ceiling. I would like to think that my predecessors and I have put a crack in it. It's now left up to my colleagues and their successors to shatter it. I have hope that this will happen. Don't give up. Keep impacting the lives of others by fighting for the opportunities and helping others along the way. As I come to a close, I would like to leave everyone with a few pointers, some things I've learned. 1, establish or maintain a relationship with God and pray often. Strive to leave things better than the way you found it. Seek out opportunities for yourself and others, because good things don't always come to those who wait. Don't settle for mediocrity. Give 100% in everything. Make building relationships a priority. Include people who will hold you accountable in your circle. And last but not least, strive for diversity. But remember, diversity without inclusion means nothing. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you.
Okay, now that we fix that. The 172nd Airlift Wing staff would like to make a presentation.
Chandra and I go way back. I go way back from her, but we shared some man issues, some trips, and a lot of good times together. And I do know her a woman of faith, and I think the time is just to remind you that God is your God, and you always really want to.
Got a little bit more to Don't Have while we're figuring out the goodies. So I'm Jeff Williams, and also on behalf of the book staff, I'd like to present the shadow box of my good friend Shannon. Anybody that knows me, I've got to get the mic. Anybody that knows me knows that I like to talk when you give me an opportunity, but I can't miss the moment to talk, to get up here and talk without saying a few comments about Chandra. And I usually, when I get up and do this, I'm a lawyer. I usually have a rule book in front of me, something prepared that I go by. But I think you all join me in saying that. How do you get up and talk about somebody like Shander with a rule book and a guide? And it's because you can't measure somebody like her by that. And so really I thought, well, I'll just get up here and kind of talk from the heart a little bit. So I thought about something while you were up here talking. I remember a long time ago when I was a kid, I came across a tombstone from a famous singer one time. And somewhere on the top, and I'm paraphrasing it, he said something like this. He prayed for the ability to give love to those that need it and accept love from those that are given. And that is exactly what I was thinking about as you were up here talking, because that has been my experience with you. I know that's been your experience with her throughout your careers, throughout your lifetime. I know we spent many a days talking about very difficult subjects: race, gender, love, hate, forgiveness, kindness, all kinds of topics. And I looked down on the sheet there with a nice little picture on there, Shander, and I realized that you had a master's of science and some things called guidance and counseling. And all that time that we spent, all those conversations, I didn't realize that you were guiding me and you were counseling me the entire time. And there I thought I was giving all the good advice. I will say this, I didn't expect to cry today, but you had me tearing up over there a little bit. Thanks to you also, Chris. I teared up earlier with you. And I'm through crying for the day, but I'm here to hopefully celebrate Shander with you. And I'm just so appreciative to have a part of that. And I will leave you with this, as they say at the Air Force Academy: fly, fight, and win, my friend. I hope life keeps going your way.
And at this time, the floor is open for anyone else who would like to have comments or presentations to give to Lieutenant Colonel retired Shander Adams.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Colonel retired Jackie Brown, and since my name was mentioned a few times, here I am. I do not come back to the 172nd that often, but when I do, it's usually for retirement, and it's usually for someone like Shander, although she is certainly one of a kind. She had me back there about to cry, and those of you who have worked with me know that doesn't happen often, if at all. But I can remember when I was commander of the 172nd Communications Flight, and I met Shander for the first time. I thought to myself, she can do more. She can do so much more. And I kept encouraging her to go and get commissioned. And she did, and I was there. And when she was given her first command, I was there. When she got promoted, I was there. And I know exactly what you're talking about, Shander, when you talk about cracking that glass ceiling. My head still hurts. I was there. And I intend to be back here when somebody busts right through it. But I am so proud of you and all that you have accomplished and the impact that you have left behind. And I would not have missed this for anything, and being able to say that to you publicly. Thank you.
How y'all doing? Thank you for attending. My name is Lieutenant James Lott, and I've never said this to you, Colonel, but when I first got in 2007, Colonel Wright and Colonel Adams were over us in student flight. And I was an athlete, I played football, and probably the second drill, Colonel Adams was yelling and fussing at us, and I was trying to figure out who was this mean captain that was inspiring and probably put a little bit more fear in my heart than a lot of my football coaches. So she had us running. I remember I wasn't prepared for it. I probably had on some Birkenstock sandals. And she didn't care. She yelled at me, made me do my push-ups, and she still made me do my run. And I did throw up that day. So I got back from boot camp and I started going to tech school, and then I started to figure out who she was as a person and as a leader. And I just wanted to tell you, I thank you for all the guidance, the mentorship, and I realized that she wasn't as mean as the little pit bull that I thought she was. She was actually nurturing and caring. So, like I said, ma'am, I've never shared this story with you. You probably don't even remember, but I think I shared it with you, Colonel. But I really appreciate that moment because it was a switch in my head that I wasn't ready for the boot camp. I wasn't ready for the Air National Guard or the Air Force, and it was insignificant to you, but it was monumental to me, and it cut on a switch for me to put more preparation to get ready for boot camp. And like I said, I thank you for that, and I thank you for all the guidance that you give myself and other junior officers. Thank you.
I'm gonna be quick. Because he's here. He's gonna be most of the talking time. But I thank you, sir, for hosting this event. And I thank you all for coming out. Thank you. No way. Look, but thank you all for coming out. And I want Colonel Brown to know that today is not the only day that your name comes up. Whenever I talk to her, she makes it a point to mention your name and what you mean to her, okay? And you know what you mean to all of us because I've been here long enough to know when you were here, when you were the only one that were able to represent people of color at your rank. It's just awesome to know you were there. You did the right things to show us how to do the right things. And I know you get tired of me calling you Lindsay, but I know your last name is Adams. but when we were younger, she was Lindsay to me, and when we were under your tutelage, and just watching the way you moved and operated here on base, which is awesome, and I promise you, she preaches your name all the time. And I want you to know you mean a lot to us. Thank you for coming out, all of us. And I know earlier when you were getting emotional talking about family, which I always get emotional when people talk about their families, but I didn't get emotional when I was young. As I got older, it's okay. I guess it's okay to get emotional. So I got some tissues earlier when they were going to give them to you, but the tissues I had were for me. So we had to get you some extra tissue. And I told you about that this morning. Please don't do it. But when you talk about what your family means to you, they mean so much to you. It's the sacrifices that you guys make for us. It's just, I can't think of anything else that anybody else can do to make us feel the way we come out and represent you guys. So thank you for loaning her to us. We still have her a little bit, and I told her we're gonna miss her as far as leading us because she leads us, and she stayed here to watch us. So she took that job so she could watch the things that she put in place to make sure it was going good. But thank you so much for what you do. You mean a lot to us, and I just want you to know that we appreciate everything you do.
Hi, everybody. Again, I'm Shanda's little sister. I'm Leishra. I started my military career first. I went out first, and then she came along. He talked about leadership. I mentioned I'm a little sister for a reason. Shanda has been a leader to us as long as I can remember. Our lives are so parallel. So much so, even though I went to the military first, our children, our oldest, are 2 days apart. 2 days apart. She had to have her child first to coach me, and she was in New Mexico, and I was in Virginia. So I needed her to go first, as always. The other gentleman mentioned she has a master's in science. I have a master's in art, a holistic psychology. She worked at the VA for years. After I finished my military career, went on, got my education on it. I'm a holistic coach at the VA. The things she shared with me brought me so I laughed at her laughed at her for getting up here crying because she know better. I laughed at my mama for crying. And Lord, I sat there and told my niece, somebody come get angry. So, yeah, emotions are strong, and sometimes we can't push them aside and put them in a barrier. I often say, although I'm a sailor, the core values of the Air Force ring true. You guys talked about her exhibiting those core values. Integrity first. She would always tell us what's right. Not in a judgmental way, but in a loving way where you can accept it. She always shone instead of speaking or preaching. She exhibited. She was, I gotta say, she was the wind beneath my wings. She said to me that, I'm her best friend. That's mutual. Being in the service, being in the military, to one, was very difficult. But it had not been for her, I don't know what I would do. So, I heard a writer once said, things that matters most shouldn't be at the mercy of the things that matters most. Yeah, I had a lot of things going on, but I was able to put things in perspective. I woke up this morning and I'm gonna snitch. George knew I was coming. So I called him to see what I can do in things the way it was paid. So I came here to say how much I appreciate you, how much I love you, how much you have touched so many lives, including my own and my children. And I'm grateful. That's all.
She didn't want me to get up here and tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth about Sergeant Lindsay. Sergeant Lindsay. It's when I first met her. She is the most loyal person that you'll ever run into. When I first came here in 1998, I got two stories. When I first came here in 1998, or 97, I came in this building 116, and Sergeant Foster was leading me around, showing me everybody. There was some people playing spades, a couple of colonels playing spades. I'm like, wow, this is the place I want to be. Coming from active duty. So he takes me to his office. He's like, this is where you'll be working. He opened the door, and out pops this young lady like, no, we don't want nobody else. Nobody else. We ain't taking no more people. That was her. That's my first impression of Lieutenant Colonel Adams. She was like, no. And we have been friends since that point. Imagine something. And another story. We worked for years. We were in Mr. Adams, I got to bring this up. This young man used to have a crush on her. Years ago, he had a crush on her. I'm not going to call his name, but it was Wiley Neat. I hope it's not here. Wiley would, I kind of instigated. Wiley, had a crush on her, and she was married, She didn't play it. She didn't play it over there. But I was like, hey man, shoot your shot. I didn't say it like that. I didn't say it, but I didn't stop. So he finally got up the nerve to ask her. I don't know what he asked, but I was so busy laughing I couldn't quite hear what he asked her. But she let him have it. When I tell you, she just lit into it. what are you doing? I'm married. I'm like, and she was just in his face, just telling him, read. And Wiley was looking like, he didn't hear a word she said. He was just happy that she was talking to him. That's the impression she gave. That's the person I know. And I thank you, Mr. Adams, for sharing her. And we've been friends for years, and I just know we'll be friends well. God bless you.
Will there be anyone else?
All right, let me go. All right, so Sister Adams, congratulations. I say Sister Adams because the rank stuff don't matter once you retire. But one thing I want you to realize is as you transition, the values that we adapted in the Air Force, integrity first, service before self, excellence in all we do, that enabled us to be superheroes. And as superheroes, we were able to transform in the midst of situations and circumstances that we weren't prepared for. No one kind of prepared us to lead diverse people and to be from our backgrounds, have to carry and bust through those glass ceilings. We keep saying we haven't breaking through them. We have. We have because we recognize them and we know that it's an issue and we're working towards it together. That's something our country hasn't done. That's something our country hasn't been willing to face. And we as airmen, we have been willing to do that because of our integrity. Because the integrity is the thing that drives us. It pushes us beyond measures. It's this one single thing that checks who you are. Service before self doesn't happen if you don't have excellence in all you do. You see, when she operates in that spirit of excellence, when she stands up and she mentors the youth, and I see her get all you talked about is who she is as a person. The Air Force helped shape that. Those core values help her be the woman that she is. Those core values is what's going to carry her into the civilian sector. Though she lays down her cape as a superhero, as a lieutenant colonel in the United States Air Force. Welcome to your incognito civilian life. When you have to put down your superwoman cape, and you put on your civilian clothes, you are still a superhero. You will always be that to us. And as long as you operate in those core values and be who God has called you to be, greatness is inside of you. And I can't wait to the second chapter because it's great over here.
Well, I can't keep through Colonel Adams, so I've never met him face to face before. We just talked on LinkedIn and everywhere else. So, as a product of retired Master Sergeant Levy and Lieutenant Colonel Adams, I want to thank her because, first of all, if she hadn't commissioned, I would have maintained sergeant. I want to thank her for finally getting commissioned so I can promote. And I would say everything everybody said about her is absolutely correct. Whenever I meet a sound counsel and advice about stuff, 'cause I don't know if you know this, but I fly off the handle first and then I think about it later. She's been the person that tries to talk me down off of that ledge sometimes. Sometimes she makes it, sometimes she don't. She done made it for the most part because I got here, and even getting here, I had issues. I struggled with whether or not I wanted to stay in, whether or not I wanted to do this at all. And I talked to Colonel Adams, and Colonel Adams said, you're too close to get out now. You're too close, you gotta try it. So I just want to thank her for always being there for me, giving me sound counsel, trying to lead me in the right way. Yeah, I'm a product of the guy in the blue and her. So thank y'all for everything you've ever done. Thank you.
Will there be anyone else?
I went through I was going through a bad divorce. And she was my mentor, my boss, my drill sergeant, So after I graduated from Jackson State, I said, she said, your re-enlistment is due. And I said, oh, I'm done with that. I'm going to be a teacher. No re-enlistment for me. And I can't get a sub either. And she said, your re-enlistment is at 11. Major Haygood said that he'll be waiting for you. And I was like, I'm done with this, you know. And she said, now is the time to make an impact on those that's coming behind you. And sometimes, while I'm working out here now full time, I come through struggles that I'm saying, that's not my fight. Why should I be fighting for the truth, an issue that's not mine? And then I remember, well, Colonel Adams told me that it's my turn to pave the way. It's my turn to show them. It's my turn to make sure that I leave it better than I found it. So as I go through days, and I'm saying I'm good, but then my airman isn't good, so I said, no, I'm not good. And I was like, oh, in my head, I've been fighting with Colonel Adams in my head. I'm like, I'm really not in the mood for this, you know? And then I was like, Colonel Adams told me that my purpose now is my turn to pay, to counsel, to impact, to be the person that they can look to as the model of what the core values is. So some days I said if I wouldn't have re-enlisted, if I would have stayed at the school, I wouldn't be here today. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Would there be anyone else? Okay, before my final remarks, you heard Chandra say that she and I kind of started out the same time, along the same timeline, 21 years. And she was one of the first persons that I met when I got to the 172nd. And she said herself, you know, we are friends. And the scripture came to mind, they that have friends must first show themselves friendly. So, I'm going to tell y'all, Pastor, she wasn't very friendly when you first met her. Now, in respect of time, I'm not going to tell you the story. She told me, you're the narrator for a reason. You don't tell stories. She actually told me that 2 or 3 times. So, but thank God for Pastor. I know y'all been praying over that. So, but I'm so grateful to have had a confidant and a friend and a fellow enlisted person and officer that shared the same understanding and sometimes helped give me understanding along the way. I know I have been made immensely better because of you and our friendship and the things that you have, even when you didn't realize things that you would say, and I would be like, man, that's a perspective I need to think about. And so thank you for being my friend. Thank you for the impact that has been so evident by so many things that have been said today. And I'm grateful that while you're taking off the uniform, you're still going to be across the street in the office. So we'll still be able to have those conversations regularly. And again, thank all of you for coming And in closing, Lieutenant Colonel Adams, the men and women of the United States Air Force and Air National Guard are proud to have served with you. Your knowledge, wisdom, dedication, and friendship will be sorely missed by all. We wish you well as you begin this new chapter in your life. Ladies and gentlemen, please join Colonel Tillman in congratulating Lieutenant Colonel Adams and her family at a reception in this room immediately following the ceremony. Please stand for the departure of the official department. This concludes today's ceremony. Thank you all for coming and sharing with her.